We are not rich by what we possess but by what we can do without. He who is cruel to animals becomes hard, also in his dealings with men. We can judge the heart of a man by his treatment of animals. Act in such a way that you treat humanity, whether in your own person or in the person of any other, never merely as a means to an end, but always at the same time as an end. Look closely. The beautiful may be small. I had to deny knowledge in order to make room for faith. One who makes himself a worm cannot complain afterwards, if people step on him. Dare to think. Two things fill the mind with ever-increasing wonder and awe. The more often and the more intensely the mind of thought is drawn to them, the starry heavens above me, and the moral law within me. All our knowledge begins with the senses, proceeds then to the understanding, and ends with reason. There is nothing higher than reason. Rules for happiness: something to do, someone to love, something to hope for. For peace to reign on earth, humans must evolve into new beings who have learned to see the whole first. Out of the crooked timber of humanity, no straight thing was ever made. Seek not the favor of the multitude, it is seldom got by honest and lawful means, but seek the testimony of few, and number not voices, but weigh them. The busier we are, the more acutely we feel that we live, the more conscious we are of life. Genius is the ability to independently arrive at and understand concepts that would normally have to be taught by another person. The death of dogma is the birth of morality. But only he who, himself enlightened, is not afraid of shadows. Space and time are the framework within which the mind is constrained to construct its experience of reality. Thoughts without content are empty, intuitions without concepts are blind. Have patience a while, slanders are not long-lived, truth is the child of time, ere long she shall appear to vindicate thee. Dare to know, have the courage to use your own intelligence. The reading of all good books is like a conversation with the finest minds of past centuries. We are enriched not by what we possess, but by what we can do without. Man must be disciplined, for he is by nature raw and wild. If the truth shall kill them, let them die. Treat people as an end, and never as a means to an end. Have the courage to use your own reason, that is the motto of enlightenment. Act only according to that maxim, whereby you can at the same time will that it should become a universal law. How then is perfection to be sought? Wherein lies our hope? In education, and in nothing else. There is something splendid about innocence, but what is bad about it, in turn, is that it cannot protect itself very well, and is easily seduced. In all judgments by which we describe anything as beautiful, we allow no one to be of another opinion. Enlightenment is man's emergence from his self-incurred immaturity. An action, to have moral worth, must be done from duty. Marriage is the union of two people of different sexes with a view to the mutual possession of each other's sexual attributes for the duration of their lives. Woman wants control, man self-control. Nothing is divine, but what is agreeable to reason. Morality is not properly the doctrine of how we may make ourselves happy, but how we may make ourselves worthy of happiness. Experience without theory is blind, but theory without experience is mere intellectual play. The people naturally adhere most to doctrines which demand the least self-exertion and the least use of their own reason, and which can best accommodate their duties to their inclinations. Only the descent into the hell of self-knowledge can pave the way to godliness. But although all our knowledge begins with experience, it does not follow that it arises from experience. Nature is beautiful because it looks like art, and art can only be called beautiful if we are conscious of it as art, while yet it looks like nature. All false art, all vain wisdom, lasts its time but finally destroys itself, and its highest culture is also the epoch of its decay. Without man and his potential for moral progress, the whole of reality would be a mere wilderness, a thing in vain, and have no final purpose. To be is to do. Act only according to that maxim, by which you can at the same time will that it should become a universal law. Enlightenment is man's emergence from his self-imposed immaturity. Immaturity is the inability to use one's understanding without guidance from another. Two things fill the mind with ever new and increasing admiration and awe: the oftener and more steadily we reflect on them, the starry heavens above, and the moral law within. All human cognition begins with intuitions, proceeds from thence to conceptions, and ends with ideas. Simply to acquiesce in skepticism can never suffice to overcome the restlessness of reason. Dignity is a value that creates irreplaceability. Beauty presents an indeterminate concept of understanding, the sublime an indeterminate concept of reason. It is beyond a doubt that all our knowledge begins with experience. Human beings are never to be treated as a means, but always as ends. A categorical imperative would be one which represented an action as objectively necessary in itself, without reference to any other purpose. In every department of physical science, there is only so much science, properly so called, as there is mathematics. By a lie, a man throws away, and as it were annihilates, his dignity as a man. From the crooked timber of humanity, a straight board cannot be hewn. Innocence is a splendid thing, only it has the misfortune, not to keep very well, and to be easily misled. Settle, for sure and universally, what conduct will promote the happiness of a rational being. What might be said of things in themselves, separated from all relationship to our senses, remains for us absolutely unknown. Better the whole people perish, than that injustice be done. Give me matter, and I will build a world out of it.